Well, was it going to be yes or was it going to be no? Mine was like a pendulum on a grandfather clock on this whole 2026 Winter Olympics, and should my hometown, Calgary, Alberta, bid and try to rekindle the magic of 1988 again. So, here's my take on the whole what happened with the plebiscite and everything leading up into the should we bid for the 2026 Winter Olympics or not. I mean, ultimately, the city of Calgary voted no on the plebiscite on should Calgary pursue a bid for the 2026 Winter Olympics. It was just over 56% voted no, and also I looked at the Elections Calgary website that unfortunately only 39.6%, or roughly around there, just under 40% of eligible voters actually voted, but ultimately I actually voted yes, mostly because I actually work in the engineering and planning industry, but there was also a side of me that, think it would have been nice to have the Olympics again and be old enough to appreciate it this time, because I was only 5.5 at the time when the Olympics were here in 1988, and little memories I have. I mean, it was truly a magical time, and I own some relics from the past from the Olympics, and if I'm sure if I ever get I know my mother is making a scrapbook, and I'm sure there's pictures of me in those scrapbooks. What it was like, there's a few pictures in the family albums of during the Olympics here, but ultimately this wasn't quite Calgary's time right now. I'd figured to host the Olympics. I mean, I did vote yes, but I voted yes, but I had a little, gulp, because I was a little worried about. I mean, my concerns were definitely legit about cost overruns, and I mean, there was definitely bickering and funding about the funding, and I felt the funding models came a little late before we were set up to go to the polls here. I mean, a couple of years ago, people were definitely more in favor of should we go ahead and pursue the Olympics, but the economy is tanked a little bit, and there seems to be some division between should we have the Olympics or not, but it's all come down to money at the end of the day, and I mean, the Olympics are now costing billions and billions of dollars just to put on, as what some people keep saying online, a 2-week party here, and unfortunately in some cities it is a 2-week party with cost overruns, and eventually taxpayers are left footing the bill here. I mean, Calgary, when they hosted the games in 1988, a lot of facilities, yes, were built, and we were planning on reusing a lot of facilities and upgrading them, which is something that eventually needs to be done, but there'll be funding from other sources. But maybe right now, maybe it wasn't the time. I mean, I do feel that this city definitely needs something to rally behind and feel good about again, and get a kickstart in the economy. I mean, things have definitely been tough, and I still feel times are tough, with everything going up, but unemployment going up, costs of everything keep going up, but salaries and wages remain stagnant. But I mean, I still felt in my industry we definitely could have used a boost from getting the Olympics, and all the likelihood, all word on the street is that we would have been favorites to win with Stockholm and then the joint bid in Italy there, but even then those two are on shaky terms right now because of finances, and as I know, they don't have any government models here, but this is starting to become the Olympics that nobody wants because of the costs. I mean, the IOC definitely needs to still clean up its act and come up with a better way so that you don't have to spend billions and billions of dollars just to, and a lot of it is now taxpayer, because I remember a lot of it was private. There was a lot more private funding when the Olympics happened in 1988, but I mean, who knows what's going to happen now. But January was supposedly the deadline to submit a bid to the IOC, and said, yes, we're bidding, but unfortunately, it's a non-binding plebiscite, but the city is, going to just go ahead with what we wished as citizens, that we're not going to go ahead with it, and, this has to be put away on the wayside for now. I mean, we definitely still need a field house, and then, word out there is that we're going to need a new arena eventually for the Flames to generate money, and as unique as shapely the Saddledome is, we definitely lose out on a lot of events because the roof is too low, but eventually we're going to need that new rink. We still need a new field house, and we're definitely going to need McMahon Stadium to be upgraded to be more modern compared to other football stadiums in the country. Maybe this is definitely the time to focus on that, because the other thing that I was still hesitant on was, all the infrastructure. There's still some infrastructure that needs to be done, and usually kind of gets added in, but maybe the other reason is that, do you trust current city council to go ahead with this? And there seems to be a lot of division here, and I just think, maybe it's time to wait a few more years. Hopefully, there'll be changes in government, hopefully more conservative, that, because I definitely think Calgary can put on a show again for the Olympics, but, maybe now isn't quite the time. There was definitely an opportunity to, with the funding that came from, that was promised apparently from both the Alberta government and the federal government, and yeah, it's taxpayers' money, but I also look at it this way, that half the money that we pay here in Calgary goes to Alberta and the Alberta government, and then Alberta actually pays a lot more to Ottawa than we get in return when it comes to equalization payments. But that was the other thing that wasn't really clear on, was the the funding, like the cost and what was going to happen. All the events were going to happen in Calgary, with the exception of the ski jumping events, which would have been in Whistler, because apparently the ski jumps here in Calgary are beyond its life, and definitely needed rebuilding, but they were still good to go in Whistler when they were part of the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver, and the Nordic events would have been in Canmore, which was still the case in 1988, but I think maybe on the other hand, we sort of dodged a bullet here with, potential cost overruns, which there was no clear answer on who was picking up that tab, and since 9/11, security has definitely been a lot more of an expense for the Olympics, but I definitely have mixed emotions on what happened here the other day, but what do you think? Is this a good or a bad thing that we're not pursuing the bid for the Olympics right now, and do you think there is future for the Olympics in general, and do you think Calgary will get to relive its magic again like it did in 1988? Our legacy definitely still lives on, because we still use a lot of facilities like the Oval. The Saddledome was part of it, but Winsport, which is where Canada Olympic Park is, or I guess it's all renamed as Winsport, rebranded as Brinsport. Hockey Canada comes here to train, and a lot of our Olympic athletes, they come here to train still, thanks to the 1988 Winter Olympics. So I just feel that there's something we can look at doing, and I actually read online that you should try to capture the 2038 Winter Olympics, because that'll be the 50th anniversary of the 1988 Winter Olympics, and rekindle their legacy and keep it going on, and maybe Calgary will forever go down as history as one of the best Winter Olympic cities of all time, if we pull it off again. But it was successful in 1988. I feel like we can do it again if it was under better circumstances, and there was just a lot less division, and if the voters were definitely, I felt, were a little more informed. But word on the street was that a lot of people on the advance poll and the mail-in ballots, it was two out of three was no, and the yes side just ran out of time for the main vote on November 13th, but it's just my take. I mean, I did vote yes for a couple of reasons, because I work in the engineering plant industry, and there's a side of me said I would like to relive it again, but I was legitimately scared at the same time as a taxpayer about, cost overruns and that, and, I'd still be 90 years old, still paying for it, potentially, but, this is definitely, should be a wake-up call to the IOC, too, when cities are bidding and, say they're interested in bidding, and then they explore it and figure, we can't afford it, we're out. And heck, the 2024 Summer Olympics and the 2028 Summer Olympics are already going to Paris in 2024 and Los Angeles in 2028, because there were only two cities that bid it for those 2 years, and they obviously said Paris can have it to 2024, which coincides with the 100th anniversary of their Summer Games from 1924, and Los Angeles can have it in 2028 when they last hosted the Summer Olympics in 1984. But I'll just put it at the end here and just say, what do you think about this whole thing? What went right, what went wrong, happy, sad, indifferent? I consider myself indifferent about, what side I voted for, and ultimately it played out. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I put on my YouTube channel, talking sports like I am here, mostly Calgary sports, and scenery videos, personal vlogs, moments at sporting events, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and I always say, see you in the next video, and, 1 year, the Olympics will be back in Calgary. It's just now is not the time, and it won't happen in 2026, but I think we will get the Olympics again sometime when things are a little more favorable.